All right, my friends, let's talk about the Secure Act, shall we? So I am back here in Georgia, and it's 67 degrees, Christmas Eve. I just got back from Harrisburg, freezing my little tush off. It's not really little, and I got my man back here with me, old Pablo. He was at the kennel for 4 days, and when I picked him up, he was like, "What happened? Don't ever do that again, Dad." So. I've been feeling probably 15 emails about the Secure Act. Oops, I got your harness on? Okay. I tell you, it's not a big deal. Now, I'm telling you, the benefits of the Secure Act go to two groups in particular. Investment companies and insurance companies. That's just all there is to it. The investment companies probably not as much as insurance companies, but investment companies can. I was reading someplace that if the multi-planned 401k plans get off the ground, so let's just say, Josh, I'm a YouTuber, but I don't have the funds to start my own 401k, and we'll just have, two people that work for me, and I don't, but just say I did. So I could theoretically partner with Bob, who's a YouTuber, is the same position, and we could have economies of scale in which to negotiate price. Put a multi-employer 401k plan. Just no one's going to do that. I'm sorry to say. And when I say no one, I don't mean literally nobody. I'm not going to take the time. You're not going to take the time. Maybe some, I don't know, HVAC firm with 15 employees. He wants to retain, the plumbers he's got. And he says, look, we'll give you deferred comp. And that's all 401k plans are, by the way. It's just deferred compensation. You're deferring compensation to a later date with potentially a match from your employer. 401k plans aren't that big of a deal. Everyone makes this huge issue like it's a cat's meow. I like them. I love the fact you get a match. Like I said, if I didn't get my match from USAA or have my 401k plan with profit sharing, I would not be here today doing what I'm doing. But the 401k plans are derived in three places. All right, you got the employee contributions, your deferrals. That's deferred compensation. You're deferring your compensation for a later date in which to pay tax on it. That's literally what happens. A lot of 401k plans that deferred of your compensation, you're not invested in that money until a later date. And so you could leave that firm within, say, usually is a 5-year cliff. Where you're fully vested or something. I mean, they've changed, but sometimes a 2-year safe harbor, all these different rules and regulations. But at the end of the day, you're deferring compensation that thus you don't have to pay tax on today. It grows tax deferred. But you will have to declare that as compensation as ordinary income tax in the future. Notice, when you're deferring compensation, you're still paying FICA on that money. All right, so deferred compensation is still subject to FICA. So you're deferring compensation today to pay tax on it later, but you're still paying FICA on that money today. Just keep that in mind. A lot of people don't recognize that. So the 401k in of itself is not a very big deal. It's the match. And then, of course, the profit sharing where very, very few companies offer. Some of the big firms do. Some will do a profit sharing. The vast majority don't do any profit sharing whatsoever. The way they share their profits essentially is they give you a salary, and then the owners of the firm will take a bigger slice of the salary. That's their right to do. It's their firm. Do whatever they want. They're going to pay income tax on. They'll be subject to FICA. They might give themselves a cut of the profits via what's called a dividend, which they don't have to pay tax. They don't have to pay FICA on, but that will still be taxed as not qualified dividends. So whatever the taxation is on that, you still have to pay. All right, so 401k. Now you got the match, and the match is important, absolutely. That's what everyone looks at with the 401k. They say it's free money, and that's 100% correct. It's free. It's free to the extent that they did not give it to you via deferred compensation. They're saying, if you do this, we will do that. I.e., if you deferred compensation, i.e., by method of contributing to the 401k plan, we'll match some of that, and the business gets the deduction and the write-off. I mean, it's great. Nothing wrong with that. I don't want to make light of it. It's freaking awesome. But let's not get caught up as if this is some great concept. In the overall scheme of things, it's simple. Where USA came to play and some other firms is a profit sharing. That was when the big one would kick in. So if you got a profit sharing, I mean, that's where we get, 18% of salary sometimes. I mean, there's always limits. And I think the limit, $50,000, something like that. I can't remember. which I think you can put $20,000 in, and your employer can put $30,000 in through a match and deferred for match and profit sharing. It depends on how old you are, but it's like 50,000, 60,000. I think it's 50,000. I don't know if it's 60,000 if you're over 50. I can't remember. But anyway, there's a pretty good amount of money in there. But no one under 401k is going to be multi-millionaire, right? No one is going to be. So the idea that the 401k leads, I mean, you hear all the time, Microsoft millionaires and stuff. That's just because the stock took off. It wasn't because of 401k. Now, are there people with millions in 401ks and TSPs? Sure, because they've been working for a long, long time at a firm, investing regularly into equities, had good matches and stuff, good profit sharing. So that's freaking awesome. But the 401k in of itself isn't any different than a deferred comp that your employer says, hey, we're going to give you a match of your deferred compensation. That's it. So the idea now that a bunch of small-time business owners like me is going to suddenly partner with Bob down the street to offer this plan, it's just not, it's silly in of itself. It's not going to happen. And all these people say, whoa, the access to a 401k plan is what's keeping people back. These people don't know what the hell they're talking about, man. I'm sitting there thinking, if these people lack of access were what's keeping them back, then we would say, okay, so you're inherently saving money in a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, or a taxable account, or a bank account. So the lack of access is what's holding people back from saving. I mean, it's so freaking warm here, and seeing the Santa Claus stuff up is just, it seems surreal actually in people's yards. So lack of access is what's forcing this retirement crisis. And thus, by using these multi-planned 401k plans, multi-employer 401k plans, that's going to solve that quote-unquote crisis. Well, that's stupid, because these same people aren't putting money into traditional IRAs, which everyone has access to, and just good old-fashioned brokerage and bank accounts. It's not happening. So if it's not happening on that side, it's not a lack of access, because IRAs are accessible to anybody. Anybody and everybody. I don't know what this guy's doing. Let's get over here. He's like parked in the middle of the street. Okay, there he goes finally. So the whole lack of access argument is silly on itself. I always said that to begin with, and I say it now, is that had nothing to do with anything. It's the issue that the employer now, through the brokerage firms, are going to say, look, we are giving you more and more access. Now the brokerage firms can say to the employer, don't you want to have more access to your employees? And thus the brokerage firm has the idea and the opportunity to solicit business. There's no, oh, there's that dog. Hey, buddy. Look, Pablo. It's that dog. Look. No. Hey, you look at the wrong thing. Look. Oh. Hi. You're missing that dog. Don't. Come on, buddy. Come on. Oh. You're missing that big dog. Your big friend back there. Oh, now you want to see him? Okay. So it's not lack of access. All right. So now the investment firms are going to sit there and say, look, Joe, I know you run an HVAC firm. I can put together a bunch of other investment firms or a bunch of other companies and offer you a 401k. And so what the idea was, that could raise another $1 trillion of assets over time into brokerage firms and investment companies' portfolios to manage and charge fees. That seems significantly in error to me, but whatever, that might well be. But it does give investment firms another sales opportunity to employers who don't have plans set up right now. So they love it. I don't think that's the big catch that a lot of people are making it. I find that's going to be negligent at best. Not negligent. What's the word I'm looking for? Minimal, I guess, is at best. There's not going to be, I guess, negligent, right? Small? Negligible. That's what I'm saying. Negligible at best. All right. Part 2 of this. Insurance. Insurance companies and big pharma, man, these guys rule the roost. Doesn't matter if you're on the left or you're on the right. The insurance companies and big pharma, they donate to these guys' campaigns, and I guarantee everybody from Mark Meadows from North Carolina, who's on the Freedom Caucus, to AOC on the Progressive Caucus, gets money from both. I guarantee it. So insurance companies are going to benefit like freaking bandits here, simply because annuity is going to be part of the opportunity within 401k plans. And they can hide behind the academia who says more people should be doing annuities once they retire. And the academics can't understand why more people are not doing annuities. They just don't get it. And I just find it funny. It's as if people are stupid because the academics say you should do annuities. Now, for me, I'm a fan of income annuities. I am. Not a fan of the other types by and large. I don't mind deferred fixed annuities. You notice there's no word index in there. Don't mind deferred fixed annuities. But I'm a fan of income annuities, absolutely. But the idea now that you're going to have income annuities with the employer not being held liable, which I look, man, I got no qualm with that either. The more the merrier is the way I see it. I got no qualm because I believe the big people, you're a grown up, you have the ability to decide for yourself what you want to do with your money. Got no qualm with that. None. But the insurance companies now are going to be able to offer annuities. And who knows what kind of, who knows? I mean, literally, are they going to be index annuities, variable annuities, income annuities solely? I mean, who knows? Are they going to be based on the life expectancy of the employer unit, based on the life expectancy of the general population? Who knows? Who knows? Are they going to be competitive with private annuities? Who knows? Who's going to get paid? The employer? I mean, who gets paid a commission to sell you an annuity inside a 401k plan? I don't know. Remains to be seen. Now, why else do insurance companies love this plan? Well, now they get to say annuities. All the academics said you need to offer annuities, i.e., the implication, of course, is if you don't offer the annuities and your employer, are you thus going to be liable because you did not offer the annuities if the markets tank and a third of the assets of your employer-sponsored plan go down the drain because of a crisis like we had in 2007 and 8? Well, we said, Mr. Business Owner, all the academics said you need annuities, and you did not want to offer one because you didn't want to take the time to learn about it. And now a third of your portfolio of your investments are gone, of your employees. Do you think you bear some responsibility for that, for at least not allowing your employees the opportunity to put money into their fixed annuity or their income annuity or the annuity, whatever it is? So the employer by default says, and not only that, there's no liability to you in order to offer that annuity either. So, hey, puppy, there's another big puppy. Oh, yeah. So not only are you, I would say, negligent in not offering the annuity, but on top of that, you also knew that the academics were 100 full throttle behind the idea of annuities for retirement planning. So you didn't offer it. The academics stated unequivocally that should be part of it, and now a third of the portfolio is gone, and your employees are chomp at the bit to hold someone accountable. So yes, you would not have been held accountable if you offered the annuity, but the fact you didn't offer it, and now after the fact you can have all these employees saying, I would have taken it if I knew it was out there. So everybody's going to freaking jump at when the insurance company comes knocking. These insurance companies are revving up their sales force. It's going to be freaking disgusting. Look, I don't have any problem with it. I'm a fan of having annuities. The more options, the better to people. I got no qualm with it at all. I just find it ironic that you can see how this is going to shake out in favor of the insurance companies, and I don't think in favor of the employee at all. Not in any stretch of the imagination. The employees are an afterthought here. How else? Well, now the stretch IRA is gone. All right, so there's no incentive at all to leave tax-deferred accounts to your heirs. None whatsoever. You're actually doing them a bad thing by leaving them tax-deferred money, because you could have paid tax on that money at your lower income tax rate once you retire, no longer have any income coming in. And instead, you decide to leave it to your heirs, who have to exhaust it within 10 years, all right? And they're going to have to exhaust it most likely at their highest income earning years. All right, so they're making the most money they are in the highest tax bracket, still paying FICA, all right, still paying state income tax, still paying the highest federal tax probably. But they get the deductions and exemptions. Very few will, very few do, and it doesn't matter because they're still making the most money they'll ever probably make in their life right now when they're 45 to 50 years old. And so now you could have been paying tax at that 10% rate. Instead, you're going to leave it to your kids who are making, $100,000, whatever. They have no standard, they only take a standard deduction because they don't have a big enough mortgage payment, thank goodness. And they have 10 years in which to exhaust the money. All right, so you're leaving them $500,000. They're going to take out whatever that is a year. All that's taxed from the very penny as ordinary income to the state and Fed. No, there is no FICA on that, but it just adds to their tax burden as it is, which means they're going to be in a higher marginal tax burden rate, which means they're going to pay more tax on your money, which you could have easily paid less tax on and left your kids tax-free if you had taken it out of the IRA via a Roth, taken out of the 401k or IRA via Roth, or taken out just in a traditional, just a regular good old-fashioned brokerage account. Now, Roth IRA is still going to be subject to the withdrawals, it seems. So you still got 10 years for the Roth IRA to be exhausted, but the Roth IRA is tax-free. All right, so if you do Roth IRAs, you're putting money that you can pay tax on a lower tax bracket to leave to your kids tax-free. So it's insane not to do massive amounts of Roth conversions. And we're already seeing Ed Slots of the world, rightly so, talk about how financial advisors need to be on the horn talking to their people about the benefits of Roth conversions, which I completely agree with, without question. Roth conversions are the benefit here. But let's go back to the insurance companies. What else is a benefit? Take a guess. Stretch IRAs are gone. You receive inherit $1 million IRA, $10,000 IRA, penny dollar IRA, whatever. What else is gone because stretch IRA is gone? What else is beneficial now? Think about this. All right, from an insurance company perspective, what else transfers tax-free? Well, we know Roth IRAs transfer tax-free, but how many people are actually going to engage in Roth IRAs? I mean, hopefully you who watch this YouTube channel do. I'd say the vast majority of people will not. And the reason is because they're saying, now I don't have to take required distributions till I'm 72. Let me go ahead and defer even longer. It's great. That way I don't have to pay tax. Even though I'm only a 10% tax bracket, I don't have to pay tax for 2 more years. So I'm deferring my 10% tax for 2 more years. Then I'll leave this money to old Johnny. And when little Johnny gets it, but Grandma, Johnny's paying 24% tax bracket as is, plus 6% to the state of Georgia. Don't you see? You might have been able to defer it for 2 more years, but you're leaving it to him when he's going to pay 3 times what you did. And on top, that might be more because he has to exhaust the money within 10 years of receipt. But I still get those 2 extra years, so I have to take the RMD, so it'll be beneficial. No. So what you should do, Grandma, and here's from the life insurance perspective, is you should buy life insurance because you can leave that IRA to your church, right? And the church won't pay tax. You won't pay tax because it is qualified charitable distribution. And on top of that, you could buy a life insurance policy to give to little Johnny tax-free because life insurance transfers tax-free. Isn't it great? So in this case, you are buying a life insurance policy, which you probably can't afford, and you probably really don't need at the end of the day, because if you just would have done a little bit of tax planning on the front end, you could have said, all right, I'll pay 10% a year in taxes, if that, in order to leave Johnny a tax-free Roth IRA. But instead you say, all right, I'll defer a couple extra years, and I'll only pay a few percent in taxes on the front end of my IRA distributions, and I'll use some of those later on RMDs in which to buy a life insurance policy, which will cost me well more than the taxes I was paying if I just would have converted as opposed to doing life insurance. And now I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I can really leave money to my church, which is important, tax-free, and I can buy a life insurance policy as well. Now look, I got no problem with the strategy whatsoever. I'm telling you, though, the strategy is going to be preyed upon by insurance people who aren't well-meaning, who have this idea of how they can separate Grandma from her money via the course of insurance premiums in which to do something that she might not have even intended to do. All to the state that you can actually defer money from taking the RMD until you're 72. It takes you a couple extra years of not having to pay tax on those IRAs. Wow. And then on top of that, you take the RMDs. You can use that money to buy a life insurance policy, all right, because you got to pay tax on it. Now, you won't get a charitable deduction on that if you're buying a life insurance policy. Or you could actually buy a life insurance policy with cash money and use your RMDs to give to your church completely tax-free. So what you're doing is you're leaving money to your heirs tax-free via life insurance, and you're leaving money to your church tax-free via QCDs, qualified charitable distributions. It's a good strategy. I got no qualm with it. It's a strategy you can hear a whole lot more about by people who are looking to make sales pitches, though. And you're going to see it more and more on YouTube, I guarantee, by people who are very adamant in showing you the wonders of life insurance. And I've used this strategy. I'm not against it. But the problem with getting rid of the stretch IRA and increasing RMD time is that it leads to more strategies that should never be deployed to begin with, when you could just be saying, I'm going to pay 10% a year and do Roth conversions right out the gate. Because your premiums you're paying for life insurance are going to be well above the taxes you'd be paying on those RMDs to begin with. Not even RMDs, but just IRA distributions outright. So anyway, that's my negatives on the Secure Act. Wonderful for insurance companies, pretty wonderful for investment companies. I think it's been wonderful for insurance agents. Probably pretty wonderful for folks who put together 401k plans, TPAs, third-party administrators. Probably see a lot more defined benefits coming out. Pension plans for the wealthy, all right? Small business owners, dentists, things of that nature. High profitable businesses, plastic surgeons, whatnot. Because remember, pension plans are for the poor. Nah, pension plans are for the wealthy. Cash benefit pension plan. Third-party administrators are going to be benefited here because they'll be called. If I'm looking for a job in this business, and I'm kind of actuarial inclined, I'd be looking to be a TPA, man, third-party administrator. You're going to have tons of work now because these conversations are coming down the pike for every single business that's out there. And if you got a cash flow positive business that's profitable, a dental firm, for instance, and these guys haven't offered a 401k plan yet, and now they offer multi-employee, multi-firm 401ks, you're going to have to say to yourself, the employer, am I missing the boat here? Am I assuming more liability now that I'm not offering this kind of plan? Am I assuming more liability now that I don't want to talk annuities, but I do offer a plan? What's my liability I'm assuming now with the new Secure Act? And the minute they say, oh, have you ever thought about a single employee or I think it's called Top Heavy, I can't remember, but a defined benefit plan. I think it's cash balance defined benefit plan. It's been a long time since I did this stuff. But either way, and that benefits the top guy and lady big time. And again, I got no qualm in any of this. It's all good. I just see as the industry trying to say this will benefit the average Joe and Jane out there, but it won't. It's not going to benefit the average Joe or Jane. It's going to benefit the industry, which is the way it always is. And that's the way you should look at the Secure Act. It benefits the industry. It benefits the contributors to campaigns. It doesn't benefit middle Main Street Americans at all. Does it hurt them? No, it doesn't hurt them. Does it make it a little bit better with RMD delayed? I don't think so. I think you should be taking money out of your IRAs before you even hit RMDs to begin with. Is there anything of value in here? Well, it also makes you look at not leaving money to a trust, by the way, inside an IRA. The conduit trust stuff is going to be, that right there is, I don't want to get too deep in that, but a lot of people name it their living trust as their beneficiary to the IRA. You definitely don't want to be doing that anymore, that's for sure. I'll leave that to you, your attorney, to discuss that, but given that there are no stretch IRA rules anymore, this will help some attorneys make some money. It helps a lot of people, just not the people theoretically it's intended to help. And that's my problem with it. All right, so that's all I got to say about Secure Act for right now. I'm sure there'll be much more to come later. We'll see you.